Hi! Since this is my first episode, let's talk about the exciting, dramatic, and powerful history of the number 1. Just as a disclaimer, I apologize if I mispronounce the names of any individuals in this video. Okay, now let's get started on our journey. The number 1 is the first positive integer and is also the first positive number. Hey, we already know that. You probably already know that. But did you know that the number 1 has a long, dark history of being misunderstood? Okay, maybe not that dark, but definitely misunderstood. Most ancient Greeks didn't even consider 1 a number. The Greek mathematician Euclid defined 1 as a unit, and that numbers were composed of multiple units. It wasn't until around the time when Flemish mathematician Simon Steven wrote his thesis, The Concept of 1, that people began to consider 1 as a number. Of course, it still took time for people to warm up to this idea. Nothing happens overnight. But Steven was not the first to consider 1 a number. The Greek philosopher Speusippus not only considered 1 a number, but also a prime number. Very forward thinking, sir. Wait. 1 is not a prime number. You're right. Which brings me to part 2 of 1's misunderstood history. In modern mathematics, it is clear that 1 is not a prime number. But that wasn't always the case. There was a time where 1 was the smallest prime number. Even 3 was considered the smallest prime number to some, but this video is not about number 3. The history of whether 1 is a prime number is a bit complicated, so strap in and maybe wear a helmet because this ride is crazy. When 1 became a number, it caused a time of confusion for mathematicians. Some argued that 1 was a prime number, like German mathematician Christian Goldbach. Even 8-year-old me thought 1 was a prime number. I still remember when I got that question wrong on a test. Others disagreed and said 1 was not a prime number, like the Swiss mathematician Leonhard Euler, which is actually kind of funny because both the Goldbach and Euler have a theorem named after them called the Goldbach-Euler theorem. So why is 1 not a prime number? First, let's look at the definition of prime numbers. Prime numbers are defined as a positive integer greater than 1, with only 2 positive integer factors, 1 and itself. But why can't we just remove greater than 1 so 1 can join the prime numbers? Well, the real problem doesn't lie in the definition, but in the theorems and statements that use prime numbers. Take, for example, the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, which states that every integer greater than 1 is a prime number, or can be represented by the product of prime numbers in a unique way. You probably remember those factor trees you did in school. If we take 24, then separate that into 2 numbers, one possible solution is 12 and 2. Then we divide 12 into 2 numbers, let's say 4 and 3. Then finally we divide 4 into 2 numbers, 2 and 2. Now we are only left with prime numbers. If we multiply all the primes, we get 24 again. If we were to include 1 in our definition of the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, then our tree could technically go on forever. 1 does not provide any useful information about the original number here. To make everyone's lives easier, 1 is not included with the primes. 1 is also not included with the composites, which are positive integers that have factors other than 1 and itself, like 4, 6, and 8. So is 1 destined to be alone, not part of any group, and having tea parties by itself? No, because you see, 1 story does have a happy ending. 1 is part of an exclusive club called the units, or divisors of unity. 1's inverse cousin, -1, is also part of this club. If we take into account the Gaussian integers, a plus bi, then I and -I are also part of this club. And in some number systems, there are infinite members. You know, there may not be enough tea at this tea party after all. After not being considered a number to being considered a number, but mathematicians being confused of whether it was prime or not, 1 found its spot on the number line, and with the units, a most deserving ending to a number that is always number 1 in our hearts. Comment down below what you think of the number 1 and any topics you would like me to discuss in the future. Have a wonderful day and stay tuned for more cool science and math facts.